Welcome everyone to another live stream. If you're new to this channel and subscribed the last days due to some FPGA goodness, then probably you want to subscribe to the more main channel instead, because this is a more random and IT news live channel. Welcome everyone there back in the audience on your receiving devices. Unfortunately, as you probably noticed from the recurring subscribers, way too many insecurity news spreading here awareness, and not yet sure about the best balance of maybe small individual or because it's major news day. First of all, let's start here with this amazing programming language index. Previous years it was programming language of the year, Python, Java, you name it. Latest and greatest headline, January headline, programming language C awarded programming language of the year 2019. It's like, where's even? Recurring theme in my opinion, why we have so many security vulnerabilities, certainly C, buffer over underruns, manual memory allocation and freeing and resource management. And I'm saying this with growing up on C, although I never was the greatest fan of C, but certainly I was a greatest fan of C++, at least 20 years ago, still relatively medium, whatever. I have to say this is a little bit, maybe not 2019 or 2020 version. So even though Python would become this language of the year for the second consecutive time, the good old C language wins their award this time with a yearly increase of 2.4%, running up our C hash, or C sharp, 2.1% Python, 1.4% Swift, 0.6%. Why is the programming language C still so hot? Yeah, I also wonder though, honestly. The major driver behind this trend is the Internet of Things, and exactly why I also picked this recurring news. I said it before, we probably should not have all the connected Internet of Things stuff written in C, buffer overflow left and right, and leave in the comments below what you think. Anyway, so yeah, there you have it. Speaking about justice, by the way, I hope the audio is fine. The last an hour ago, the Linux stuff, I realized audio was broken. Thanks, Pulse Audio 2020. Anyway, are we also zero prems, amazing stuff. Speaking about this C stuff and buffer over underruns and all this easily implementation defined and other, well, here's some breaking news, not yet really sure. I checked some hour ago. It was not in the news. Here's Krebs on security. Also some major websites already picked it up. Apparently Cryptic Rumblings ahead of first 2020 patch Tuesday there at Microsoft. Sources tell Krebs on security and spreading the internet. Microsoft Corp slated to release a software update on Tuesday to fix an extraordinarily serious security vulnerability in one of their cryptographic components. Also exactly this stuff that we love here so much. Present in all versions of Windows. What nice coincidence that not only some people allegedly still run Windows XP, but Windows 7 support just finally expires today or so. It's like, good luck on your not security updated Windows 7 then. Sources say Microsoft has quietly shipped a patch for the bug to branches of the US military, so they get some special treatment apparently. And other high volume customers targets that manage key internet infrastructure. So that sounds like exactly this news, like, you're running Microsoft Windows, what were you thinking? Also, according to sources, the vulnerability in question resists the Windows component known as Crypt32 DLL, a Windows module that Microsoft says handles certificate. Well, Microsoft says it's commonly known, right, that it handles certificate and cryptographic messaging functions. Crypto APIs. The Microsoft Crypto API provides services that enable developers to secure Windows-based application using cryptography that includes functionality for encrypting, decrypting data using digital certificates. So exactly this kind of stuff. And why certainly want open source, peer-reviewed stuff, and probably not run stuff in C anymore. as much as we used it ourselves, but recurring findings in this news broadcast. Let's see. Welcome Marco and everyone else. I hope as usual you all are doing fine, better than the security vulnerabilities. Anyway, Marco writes, many IoT devices wouldn't be a problem with an OS architecture that supports managing them locally and easily. And yeah, also updates, right? Many IoT stuff, cheap, no-name stuff that is never updated and certainly, well, wasn't great on day one and is never updated anyway. Supports managing them locally. Also there, good point also, I think there should be some standard, like some RFC, ISO standard, whatever, other like commonly agreed stuff for updates, for, as you say, management, maintainability, monitoring and stuff. And yeah, the problem is also that most normal consumers do not think about this and they just buy some, and usually, unfortunately, they choose the cheapest crap they find in the supermarket, and then that brings home like, hey, look what I brought, some IoT connected camera and stuff, and there we have it. So yeah, apparently not yet double checked. I think so. This was earlier today, and yeah, leave in the comments below if this is out. Not really rocking too much Windows here, but that certainly sounds pretty bad. Especially as we all know, there are still so many Windows 7, Windows XP, and God forbid even older stuff out there. Speaking about security, amazing management stuff there of IoT and other, a new security vulnerability here that has an amazing name, because 2020 or 2019 for that matter, no security vulnerability is a real security vulnerability without an amazing name, and this time it's cable hunt. What is it? It is a critical vulnerability found in cable modems. Here's this failing piece of garbage there behind me that usually already doesn't work the most amazingly, the DOCSIS cable stuff, from various manufacturers across the world. The vulnerability enables remote attackers to execute arbitrary code on your modem. So here, well done, achievement unlocked. The usual recurring theme here. And yeah, did we mention, maybe not write the stuff in C, indirectly through an endpoint on the modem, your cable modem is in charge of the internet traffic. Also, I mean, that this kind of sentences, I mean, first of all on security researchers pages, but in general, like the most common, like 2020, and you need to call out that a cable modem is in charge of your internet traffic, like for all your devices on your network. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Cable hunt might therefore be exploitable to intercept private messages, redirect traffic, participate in botnets, and yeah, apparently so proof of concept exploit, test script, and by the way, what is this here even? Okay, GitHub. So yeah, you can test there something. Maybe I actually should later after the stream. Who is affected? Apparently estimated of 200 million. So yeah, 200 million cable modems in Europe alone, with almost no cable modem tested being secure without updates. Yeah, when cheap outsourced stuff is trying to do security, and also recurring theme here of open source, and then I said this before a year ago, this video I made, can you earn a living with open source? I tried so much embedded, probably that is a story for another story time day. We secured so few projects, and for those people in the community, certainly not me alone, but all the other from MIPS, ARM, Zamber and rsync and Apache and kernel and all this, glibc and so on. People in the community who do all the core stuff, who work day and night and weekends and stuff, they usually don't get the projects, but some cheapest student of somewhere or outsourced to wherever. And unfortunately, many of those who are just after some cheap job are usually not those with the greatest knowledge, and they just clobber something together until it works, trial and error wise. And yeah, then we have in 2020 nearly all, like none of the tested was secure without a firmware update. Amazing stuff. Probably should test this, but anyway. Yeah, so how it works: exploits in two steps. First, access the vulnerability endpoint gained through client and local networks such as a browser. Second, vulnerability endpoint is hit with a buffer overflow attack here. Recurring shout out here, right? C language for the verse. In similar news, Citrix Disaster, I think we had this in previous news, Citrix security vulnerability. And apparently now this is widely exploited, and also here writes specifically in German because Hanno Böck, here from recurring fame, has analyzed this a little bit, did some port scans or such, and found that the state of security in many government agencies, especially in this case study here in Germany of all countries, it's missing the absolute bare minimum of base technology understanding stuff. So yeah, recurring shout out here. What should I say? You name it. Biggest security vulnerabilities in Citrix network gear is exploited in great scale since quite some days. They tested here this, darn it, no, I want to close it and you open it. What a failure, life on. Why do I even get this shitty? Never ordered there something or looked for this. So they tested there quite some systems, port scan I guess or something, and like in Saxony, the government emergency stations there in Bavaria, Hesse and other ministries and so on and so forth, additional companies, universities and hospitals and such. So, and the political parties there, it's Bavarian, and so yeah, even in EU, yeah, like everywhere, recurring theme here. So, and if you wonder why do I make this funny news, I want to spread awareness. The state of security and IT infrastructure is so catastrophic, and I just feel like if we do not all raise more a voice and tell, you know what, this is too much of amateurs clobbered together, and people just do not often know what they're doing. And yeah, apparently to this article, some people reached back and secured the system a little bit, but yeah, securing usually just like one port in the firewall without updating much or whatever. Certainly not changing the infrastructure within an hour or two. But so yeah. In similar news, if you were wondering, yeah, stuff is broken there, Microsoft, Citrix and Cablehorn, you name it. What's up at Apple? Have they achieved anything amazing this week? And yeah, they can't even do battery cases anymore. Everything, hashtag peak bugs here. And all the stuff broken at Apple, usually software updates and all this stuff. And even, well, broken keyboards and stuff, you name it. They can't even do smart battery cases, so replacement program, because it's like, yeah, Apple can't even do smart battery cases. You can't make this stuff up. Apple has determined that some, usually a very small percentage, some smart battery cases made for iPhone XS, 10s Max, and I don't, is it 10R or XR? I don't know, may experience charging issues, and it's no keyboard, no battery, overpriced rolling cheese grater. Battery case will not charge or charge intermittently when plugged into power battery case. I mean, I can't make this stuff up. It's, if you were wondering why I don't buy Apple products and just assembled an amazing overkill workstation here, video soon on the next channel, AMD Ryzen, you name it, certainly not buying broken keyboards, overpriced Xeon stuff or batteries that don't charge. I had enough of this. And yeah, affected units were manufactured between January 2019 and October 2019. Certainly a very small percentage of batteries, certainly so little that they certainly nearly didn't have to make this announcement here. In similar news, remember 23andMe or me or whatever, this DNA testing for your fancy heritage and medical precondition analysis startup has sold the rights to develop a drug based on the user's DNA. So yeah, if you were wondering data sharing in 2020, yeah, your DNA testing data, of course that's sold. Certainly you agreed to the end user license agreement that all your gene data are analyzed, and whatever they have the right, retain the right and exercise the right to sell this, to make good money, has sold the rights to new drugs that has developed using its customer data. If you were wondering what they wanted to do with it, it's the first time the company has signed a deal to license a drug it developed, so apparently they even maybe developed it themselves. The deal for the drug, which has been investigated as a potential treatment for inflammatory diseases is with Spanish pharmaceutical company Almiral, so something. This is a seminal moment for 23andMe. Emily Trabant Conley, so Vice President of Business Development, told Bloomberg. So yeah, the future is now DNA stuff. Thanks for sending your DNA stuff in there. Of course, raises many questions, data protection, privacy stuff and whatnot. But I mean, in some ways it's a good thing, especially with some medical companies getting out of development of something there. What was it even? But antibiotics, I think, not profitable enough. Pharmaceutical companies stop developing. That's certainly not amazing for the future. So at least someone is doing something. If that is the most amazing stuff, leave in the comments below for DNA data sharing stuff. But in general, it's a question. I mean, here, do you really want to check on this level, and should this be stored and sold? I mean, checking for you is one thing, storing it and selling it, and I don't know. Leave in the comments below. In similar news, 1 billion medical images are exposed online as doctors ignore warnings. I think we had something similar in previous news here, even in Germany and other, not only German clinics, also American. Not really sure if that is related. It could very well be the similar news. Is here even a date on this? Not really sure. This website is, by the way, a little bit strange. Here's something 11, something else. So this news is new. It could be related to the previous news, so maybe this is repeating this. Hundreds of, although maybe if this is the same newscast that we had some months ago, it's maybe a larger scale now. Hundreds of hospitals. It's in general the usual IT infrastructure and firewalls and administration infrastructure setup stuff of who is allowed to access what and how is it stored, and yeah, not updated, and security vulnerabilities. Hundreds of hospitals, medical offices and imaging centers are running insecure storage systems. Like, yeah, raise your hand if that is your surprise. Allowing anyone on the internet connection with free to download software to access over 1 billion medical images of patients across the world. Now that sounds certainly totally amazing, right? But yeah, nothing new to this channel. About half of all the exposed images, which includes X-rays, ultrasound and CT scans, belong to patients in the United States. So I think it's not entirely the same issue. I think the other was maybe the X-ray devices from General Electric were already insecure. Maybe this is an additionally of storage devices, so maybe slightly different. Also, I wish they would have more details. Do they have here more? It seems to get worse every day. A quote here says, Dirk Schrader's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. And that's what we are here for and what you signed up for. Thank you very much for signing up and tuning in. Who led the research at German-based security firm Greenbone Networks, which has been monitoring the number of exposed servers for the past year. Also, yeah, they monitored it for the past year, and apparently they ignored warnings. The problem is well documented. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Also here on this channel, Greenbone found 24 million patient exams storing more than what exams? Patient exams storing 720 million medical images in September, which first unearths the scale of the problem. So it sounds a little bit like the continuation of the story. More than half to 35 million patients exams, exposing 1.19 billion scans and representing a considerable violation of the patient privacy here. No surprise there. So that's what that usually looks like. Researchers say the problem is caused by common weakness found on servers used by hospitals, doctors, offices, radiology centers to store patient medical images. Decade-old file format. Yeah, by the way, DICOM. By the way, know this, been there, done that. Old file format industry standard known as DICOM, digital something. Medical images or something, was designed to make it easier for the medical to store medical images, a single file to share them with other medical practices. DICOM images can be viewed using any of the free-to-use apps, as would be any radiologist. DICOM images are typically stored in a picture archiving and communication system known as PACS server, allowing for easy storage and sharing. Also here, easy share and access for everyone on the wide internet. Those protected servers not only expose medical images but also personal health information. Usually they come with patient data, name, given name, family name, date of birth, location of imaging, other additional data there, where, when, what, something, case study, whatsoever, you name it. Some of the large hospitals and imaging centers in the United States are biggest culprits of exposing medical data. Schrader says he exposed data, said the exposed data puts patients at risk becoming perfect victim for medical insurance fraud. Yeah, not only medical, also personal, getting more data, address, age and stuff, and using it for other of such phishing and whatnot. And yeah, that's how it looks like. This is how it is. Yeah, this is what I said, like this and that additional data of all of this. Yeah, we really all need to do better. If you have any, leave me in the comments below what you think about this. In similar news, Skype audio graded by workers in China with no security measures, exclusive there on the Guardian or something. Yeah, exclusive former Microsoft contractor says he was emailed login after minimal vetting. Workers were given generic passwords and had no cybersecurity help to protect sensitive recordings. The former contractor said Microsoft's program to transcribe and vet audio from Skype and Cortana voice assistant run for years with no security measures, according to a former contractor who says he reviewed thousands of potential sensitive recordings. Also, yeah, we had this before, white collar shops at Amazon, Alexa, Apple, Siri and Microsoft. What else do we have? Also Google and so on. So also, I said this before, it's hilarious, such big corporations, and they outsource this for minimum wage and not amazing work conditions. It's hilarious in my opinion. In general, we had this before, we have it now, Skype additionally also. It's sad. There were no security measures. I don't even remember being done proper KYC, no, your customer on me, I think. They think they just took me Chinese bank account details. It told the Guardian, which, yeah, it's, yeah, 2020. Raise your hand if it surprises you. They just gave me login over email and I will then have access to Cortana recordings, could then hypothetically share this login with anyone. The contractor said he heard of all kinds of unusual conversations, including what could have been domestic violence. Sounds like crazy now. Yeah, but it doesn't sound crazy. Unfortunately, we had this before, recurring theme here. Stuff carries on. Basically, every one of the big companies done this. It's yeah, unfortunately. Amazon suspiciously says browser extension Honey is a security risk now that PayPal owns it. We had this before. I called this always not a good idea. Sharing all your browsing history. What is this? Honey is a browser plugin. I actually only know this because of other YouTubers shilling this out in their paid product placement there. Really not a huge fan of this after antivirus and VPN and other shady stuff that other YouTubers or creators call out there for advertising revenue. In general, I would never do this. Remind me when we do, but we will certainly not. Because, I mean, for everyone who thinks this through, it should be clear that this shares the whole browsing history with this company in general. I really wonder who would think that this is a good idea. And I certainly would not want to have all the websites you browse, all the articles. I mean, basically everything that with this browser extension, it goes to this company. And certainly it's usually this plugin is for free. If already this stuff is usually for free, then certainly you're the customer. Why would they do this, having server infrastructure and whatever? So certainly they sell your data also, and certainly have in their end user license agreement. Maybe I should read this another day. But yeah, leave me in the comments below what you think. The timing is suspect, they say. Honey is pushing back. I mean, this is hilarious. I mean, how should this Honey stuff make money? Certainly they need to make money with something, and as you are the customer, as per usual with this Google kind of services, then they certainly sell this to something. Amazon of all companies, super suspicious company as well. I have there some additional stuff to share. I mean, we had this before, Amazon saving on worker training, safety training, doing all kinds of shady stuff there, really strange marketplace sales going on and basically closing all eyes and raking in any penny they can make money with. But yeah, leave in the comments what you think. This article is a little bit strange, like making it sound like this is suspicious that Amazon now thinks this is a security risk. I mean, I would in general think this, but yeah, but whatever. I mean, Amazon, I will most likely make a dedicated video because stuff is not amazing with Amazon also. A really shady business behavior in general that I probably have to call out sometime soon. But what has Amazon, I mean, if there is some discount code to be used, what is Amazon's loss at this? I mean, worst case, they use some coupon codes there for some discounts that they could have found anyway. So yeah, whatever. Marco says it's time to get his Pinebook running. Panfrost Lime still in the works for free OpenBSDs and BSDs. Currently, it's open as currently gets. PinePhone coming soon. Yeah, amazing stuff. Certainly sounds amazing. Totally endorse that. Last but not least, cloud provider idgard loses keys. Some data no longer accessible. A recurring shout out here of if you use a cloud, the service like Honey or Amazon WS, or even we had in previous news that even Google is considering, or was maybe potentially, allegedly maybe considering closing down some compute stuff. Imagine you build your business onto something, be it Dropbox, Microsoft, whatever. So the big services usually do not go away so quickly. However, we also made this mega live stream of reading all the 150 or so cancelled Google projects. So, and given last week's news that Google was allegedly maybe considering to shut some cloud stuff down, be reminded that all the cloud stuff can go at any time. Even at Amazon or Microsoft, they might decide that this is not profitable enough, or they move on to something else or whatever. And here an example of Europe, maybe even Germany. They lost some security keys and now the data is no longer accessible. Just if people tell me, yeah, but of course, why should this happen? Recurring shout out, shit happens, have a backup. The cloud stuff is not a backup. And then worst case, here even according to some summary I read somewhere, so they lost some encryption keys, maybe allegedly or something, and yeah, confirms some keys were lost. Not all, only some. And then it also includes some cloud sync apps with Android and whatnot. And then imagine you even have your data, but this bloody cloud syncing stuff syncs your data away, like deletes it locally because it's gone on the server. Apparently the files will appear with 0 size or so, 0 byte during synchronization. And yeah, you even have your data and then the sync deletes it. Apparently the sync is temporarily disabled. As a shout out, if you're using them, you probably want to take some precautions there. But yeah, worst case scenario, you have your data and it's synced away. Maybe right now they have disabled it, but probably I would expect it. Maybe some people probably have lost the data already before they disabled it. But in general, just the general awareness of what shit can happen and all the cloud sync stuff. Even if you have your data, sync stuff can delete it. And then if it's already gone in the cloud, the sync deletes it, then it's maybe gone for good if you don't have another backup. So my recommendation, maybe you should not use this cloud stuff. Maybe have your own offsite backup at your friends and family. Certainly, it's nice to have an offsite backup at your parents or wherever, garage or whatever you creative idea you can come up with. But yeah, or at least 2 cloud service provider stuff. But be aware that this stuff can also chain reaction sync the stuff away. So even if you use 2 providers and one provider loses your data, syncs the sync app, syncs it away, like deletes it locally or something, and then the other backup might also sync, this deletes, and your backup data may go away there as well. So yeah, be careful, have backups, think this through, and yeah, apply some common sense of what you're using and what this cloud stuff may or may not do and might get lost or out of business. That's it for today. Certainly the biggest news of, well, except everything, cable, modem, and you name it. But also, if you are in Microsoft for some sort or professional hospital, government infrastructure stuff, certainly watch out here for this cryptic stuff. But in general, also, last but not least, with this kind of stuff, even the biggest companies, right? You would think that Microsoft has the top-notch people working on this stuff, and even at Microsoft, well, even especially at Microsoft, with the best people of the industry, allegedly, apparently, maybe, stuff is so broken and wrong. Crypto, Windows update, other stuff constantly not working, touch disease on the surfaces, Entric, and other stuff not amazing. So, yeah. That's it for today. I hope you learned something. Leave in the comments below what you think. And again, if you are confused by this new stuff because you just subscribed for FPGA, this is the More Live channel. There is another main channel. You might consider which of this content you like most. I hope to see you soon for the next videos and live streams to come.